What's going on, guys? In today's video we are going to be looking at a daily weight check and kind of explaining why it could be quite useful to take your weight daily rather than just once a week. So first of all, the first thing is you need to understand that when you weigh yourself, it's just not body fat. All right, we've got your lean mass and you've got your fat mass. So your lean mass is everything else that is just not body fat, and this can include muscle, water, bones, organs. So these things can fluctuate in weight, and that could add or take away weight. So it's not just body fat. People get too caught up in the daily weight and looking at it, and if it goes up or down, they start freaking out because they think it's from fat. But you need to understand there are a number of components that make up your weight, okay? As an example, if I've got long hair and I shave my hair, I'm going to be lighter. It doesn't mean I've lost body fat, all right? So just make sure you understand that key point. Now, before we go into the kind of specifics, the weight is just an element of tracking your progress. All right, you need to be looking at your body fat percentage. So that will actually tell you the lean mass and the fat mass, and you can get body fat scales. You can use a US Navy method. Whatever method you use, do keep it consistent. But your body fat percentage gives you a better idea of what's actually going on. You can take measurements, so your waist measurement, hips, arms, legs, etc. Because your measurements can go up or down without your weight really changing. And sometimes when you add muscle, lose body fat, this is known as a body recomposition. And this only happens, well, not only happens, but it tends to happen to beginners, right? If someone's new to training, they haven't really weight trained before, and they start lifting weights, they start losing body fat, they start adding muscle, their weight can stay the same, but their measurements and their body fat percentage can completely change, and they can get a lot leaner look and look a lot better without their weight changing too much. So don't put all your eggs in the weight basket. Right. Also, you want to see how you're looking and you're feeling. You have to take progress photos. These are going to be a whole, you need to look at the whole picture, not just weight alone. But what is good about weight is kind of like you weigh yourself, and that is a fact. Okay, so we've got some facts there. Right. Now, your weight can fluctuate daily, and it will fluctuate daily. So when you weigh yourself, you're going to start noticing, it's going to go a little bit up, a little bit down each day. And a lot of times, some fluctuations are due to sodium and carbs. So salt and carbohydrates actually make you retain more water. So higher water retention when you eat these types of foods. If you're a bit more hydrated or you're holding more water, you're going to be heavier. If you're dehydrated, you're going to be lighter. Doesn't mean it's a good thing. It's not body fat. Remember, it can be water as well. Food and liquid weight. When you eat food and you weigh yourself, obviously that food weighs something. So if you weigh yourself straight after you've eaten a big meal, you're going to be heavier. It's just, and same with liquid. If you drink a glass of water and then weigh yourself, you're going to be a bit heavier. It doesn't mean you put on body fat or you lost body fat. Sweat and going to the toilet. So, if you sweat, you're going to be getting rid of water. Again, you're going to be lighter. If you go to the toilet, if you go for a number one or number two, you're going to be taking things out of your body, and therefore you'll be lighter. So if you weigh yourself before you go to the toilet or after you go to the toilet, you're going to see a difference there. Menstrual cycle. If you're a woman, your menstrual cycle has a big effect on how much water you retain, and also like your measurements that are bloating, etc. So you've got to take into consideration all of these factors when we are assessing what is going on. But right, let's get into it now. So let's just say, for example, you're trying to lose body fat and you're going for 1,850 calories a day. Okay, so you're going to monitor your weight daily. And we've got your Monday's weight 80.5, then it goes 80.1, 80.2, etc, etc. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to figure out what the average weight for the week was. So week 1, the average weight here is 80 kg. Okay, now you're going to follow the same calories for week 2, and then you're going to do the exact same thing where you weigh yourself daily and you get the average weight there of 79.6. So you can see that from 80 to 79.6, it's gone down, which means you are in a calorie deficit. Those calories are working for weight loss, all right? So you'll know this because your average weight has gone down. But let's assume now you only weigh yourself once a week and you weigh yourself on Sunday morning. So every Sunday morning, that is when you weigh yourself. So the danger with doing this, or the kind of risk, is going to be that your weight could be going down right throughout the week, but you weigh yourself on a Sunday and it's 80.5. All right, because Saturday night is your takeaway night. It's your takeaway. You had your takeaway meal. You had your Nando's. You had your chips, your chicken, your rice, your peronaise, all of that. And because that food is quite heavy and quite high in carbohydrates and high in salt, naturally your body's going to hold on to more water, and the next day your weight will go back up. So it's 80.5 on Sunday morning. Now, same thing for week 2. Your weight is actually going down. It's trending down. We can see on the average it did go down, but you only weigh yourself on the Sunday, and again it's 80.5. So you would look at that, you say, right, week 1 80.5, week 2 80.5. I'm staying the same weight. I'm at calorie maintenance. So that's the conclusion you would draw based off your weight. And then you will look at your calories, 1,850 calories, you think, oh, you know what, they're not actually working. Let me reduce them, 1,750. So this can give you a bit of like misinformation or like a false result, because you're only taking 1 point, right, the Sunday morning. But if you actually assess the average, as we did here, we can see that it actually went from 80 down to 79.6. So a 0.4 kg loss, which would indicate you're actually a deficit. So then you'll be like, no, actually the calories are working, I'll stick with them. So this is why taking your weight daily is important to get the average. Don't worry too much about the daily fluctuations. It's going to go a little bit up and a little bit down. Weight loss as well is never just linear. It's never going to keep going down, 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 down. It's going to be, you know, up and down with some waves. But the average weight over time, you should see a downward trend, and then you know you're in a calorie deficit and you know you're doing the right things. So that is why I would recommend doing your weight check daily. Now, if you do get quite obsessive over the numbers and you're getting a poor relationship with your weight and you get scared to eat and things like that, then I would say, okay, you should weigh yourself less regularly, maybe 3 times a week, 2 times a week, or even once a week. But just make sure that you are keeping an eye on it, because it is a number we can track, and we can, from that, draw conclusions and make better decisions going forward.